Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Here's another author who you've heard before, KATHLEEN BARBEE. And I have to ask you a question, Kathleen. Of course, the name of your book is Confessions of a Survivor. How can it be funny? Here you went through a real terrible thing with having cancer, and yes, it's riveting, and yes, it's real, but funny?
Well, I suppose part of that's my family's personality. Being from the Northeast, we're a little bit sarcastic, and we try to find the humor in everything. And I think you have to find something to laugh about when you're going through something so tragic, or that could end up tragic.
Yeah.
But some things are comical.
So tell people about the tragedy in your life.
Well, first of all, I've had a rough couple of weeks. We had a lot of death. My mother-in-law passed away.
Unexpectedly?
Yeah. Well, she was older, but it still hurts. You don't know what's coming. It wasn't a health issue. It was just age. And we lost a couple of friends in their 50s, and one to cancer that I prayed for last time I was here. She didn't make it. She only made it a few weeks in treatment. So I say, here I am on this side of the earth.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable to me. Every time I go to a service, I'm like, that by the grace of God, that could be me.
They forgot me.
Right. But I did have stage 4 head and neck cancer, went through the grueling treatment, and already hit my 5-year mark of remission, and things are looking good. So,
and when you go back, how do they test you?
The first thing they do is the ENT takes a camera on a long tube, and he puts it in your nostril. And you have to swallow it down the back of your throat. So especially where I have scar tissue, and this is my vulnerable area, I start choking and the eyes water, and it's usually not a pleasant experience. But Dr. Galen always says to me, you've been through a lot worse than this. And then they get a good look at what's in there, if they can see any new growths or whatever.
Amazing. A little camera, huh?
Exactly.
Do you get to see what that little camera looks like?
Yeah, and to think you could swallow it through your nose is amazing. Now, when I went up to Shands from my second opinion at the end of my treatment in the book, they had the camera, same thing, except I could see it on a video on the wall. So I could see exactly what they saw, which was really pretty interesting.
Yeah, so what's happened now, and that's what people wonder about, I think. Why me? First of all, if I get cancer, why me? And then, when other people don't make it, why me?
Exactly. And
how do you come to terms with that?
I do have guilt as survival anxiety sometimes, where I feel like I can't believe it. Like this friend that just passed away, my friend's sister, Kathy, pancreatic cancer. And, here she was helping raise her granddaughter, 7, and I was just over there to a first communion party, and I knew she wasn't feeling well, but she got the diagnosis. She only had 1 or 2 chemo treatments and didn't make it. So I think of how much my body was able to withstand it. It's just a miracle to me. It's the luck of the draw. That and of course faith and having goodwill. But I was devastated when she didn't make it, and I think I have a job to do. I think that God gave me this cancer as an assignment. And one of my jobs has been to adopt a child. That was from the shelter.
You have to know that I have told your story a lot. You don't
really?
Even know that. Oh, yes, it's a great story. Wait to hear her
sing. She's an exceptional kid, and she's a gift to me.
Well, you're an exceptional person to have done that.
Thank you. And my 25-year-old and her husband just had their first baby girl Molly. And when I hold her, I think, oh, my God, I almost miss this. Every day is a joy, everything. Like when I leave here, I'm going to meet my husband. He just got off a plane from his mother's services in Boston, and we're going to go meet on the ocean. And
perfect.
I do things that I didn't do before, like in the middle of the week, because I'm alive. Why not? Right?
Yeah, that's great. And I just came back from something. It's I don't think they call their company Wow something, and they have everything on yoga, but a lot of other things too. And she calls her business, she calls it Optimistic Health.
Oh, I like that.
Optimistic Health, and she said because through everything, no matter what happens. There's death, there's cancer, there's anything can happen. You have to be optimistic.
You have to.
And so you were. See, that's one trademark of yours. I read it in your book, and you are here, you come in, and you're an optimistic person.
I try. Believe me, I have my days. But all in all, I saw myself being healed, and I looked at the treatment as healing me, and I was grateful for it, even though it was painful and made me sick to my stomach between the chemo and radiation simultaneously. I just felt like at the end of the rainbow, there's a reason. I'm so fortunate to be born at this time when we have these advanced treatments, like the cyber knife that was wonderful at the radiation center, Dr. Bushbaum. And, I lost both parents to cancer and in the 80s and 90s. And I feel like, I probably have that cancer gene, and we've come a long way with the advancement. I probably wouldn't have made it if it had been a few years ago.
Did you smoke?
Never. I tried it when I was 13, of course.
No, but you never
behind
smoked.
The school, but I never smoked.
See, isn't that interesting?
It's a freaky thing to have head and neck cancer that starts at the base of your tongue when you're not a smoker. And it breaks my heart to see young people smoke.
Yeah, because a lot of people smoke, and I try to tell them, but you can't. They have to wait till they decide when they're going to do that. I was reading, of course, what makes your book different? It's really a diary.
Yeah, it really was my journal that kept me sane, to just jot down what I was feeling, and especially the things I couldn't say to people, like some of my kids that were having trouble struggling with my illness, or some friends that say the wrong thing and they mean well. Yeah. And so it's great to vent in your journal. Now, the scary thing is now that it's out.
Everybody knows. But
yeah, and some of them are, like my daughter, the one that just had the baby, she said, "I'm not ready to read it, Mom." So she said, the whole world's going to know I was a spoiled brat. But you were 18,
But it's okay. But I read one of your diary things said that you were dreaming of a rotisserie chicken.
That was my head. That was my head in radiation, because the pain in my ears was so intense. I had a hot burning pain. And I'm sure as everything, they were breaking up the tumor and everything on the left side of my neck, you feel it. And you're really being burned from the inside out. And, and the earaches were unbearable, but I got through it. But I could just picture myself
eating a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, because they'll say, keep your head perfectly still, and they put your head in a vice, literally. And you go in the tunnel, and I am claustrophobic. So that was never good to do.
Did they ever give you a little relaxation for you to do that?
Once in a while, my general doctor would prescribe a little something, but they don't want you to be asleep because, through the microphone, they might tell you, move a little to the right or the left, or how are you feeling or whatever. So, they don't want you totally out. They just maybe take a little pressure off.
Well, my guest is Kathleen Barbee, and she's as beautiful as she sounds, and her book is terrific. So I really urge people, if you have cancer now, if you know of someone that has cancer, it's a small book. It's a small, juicy little book. It has about 110 pages, and it's a lovely gift because it comes from someone who's really experienced cancer and all the good and bad and impossible parts of it. And actually, your dates only go from, it goes from August 2009 to March 2012, something like that.
Right, when I finally got the clear bill of health.
That really...
But I've been hearing from a lot of people that
are you?
Relate to the book. I love that you've sent me an email of a fan letter. That was really a thrill. But some people say just my coping with being, at the time, a divorced single mom, trying to work, trying to hold a job, trying to take care of a teenage daughter, the last of the family. Well, we thought she was the last, but now we have Destiny. But just the day-to-day, the finances, never mind when you have medical expenses. But the day-to-day life was very difficult. And a lot of other people say, that's how I felt. I came home from work, I was depleted, but I still had to put dinner on the table, and I still had to make sure my child kept their curfew and made the phone calls and kept in touch with family members and do what you have to do in everyday life. So I'm hoping that...
Excuse me, and who did you get to talk to about all this, actually, besides your journal? Did you have some people who you could, like, if you were married at the time, you would talk to a husband, but since you were divorced, who did you talk to?
One lady I talk about in the book that I met during radiation one night, and I had a bad day and had a crying jag, and I came in and she took one look at my face, and I have that in the book, and she just held my hands. Her name was Carol.
But then did you get to talk to her after that a lot?
No.
That's what I meant. So when you came home and you were so upset, you couldn't make probably the bills, you couldn't figure out what to do. How did you get rid of it?
Well, I had some good girlfriends. I had a girlfriend, Deanne, who was also a neighbor. She drove me to a lot of my treatments and held my hand and acted like the husband or the supportive partner, even though sometimes I felt like I had to hold her up as we walked to the car if it wasn't good news. And Deanne was wonderful. Some great friends that are all in the holistic health field, massage therapist, and I had people doing Reiki on me and using oils and all of that because I taught aesthetics. So I had a lot of good connections. And also, my sister Donna flew in from Boston a lot. My sister Pat flew in. And those were always nice. You hate to see the people you love feel pain for you.
But
it is medicine.
Yeah, of course. And they have to be there with you. And, of course, it's hard on them, too. But that's part of when you love someone, you take the good and the bad.
That's exactly it. And we did have some of our best family holidays, even though I couldn't eat with them. I would sit at the table and move the food around and pretend I was eating. Then I'd go up in my bedroom and pour the tube formula into my stomach. And you do get used to it. And things you don't think that you'd be able to do, you do because it's saving you. It's nourishment.
And did you always believe from the moment that they diagnosed you that you were going to get through it?
No, I didn't. Because I'm one of those people, every time I went to the doctor, I ran home and went right on Google. And I would always write down what the options were, what the statistics were. And so I'd say, okay, here's A, B, C, D. A, I'm out of the woods. B, maybe 75%. C, 50%. And D, don't buy any ripe bananas that aren't ripe. Or ripe bananas, whatever that expression is.
Right.
But
green bananas.
Green bananas. But every time I got some new information, I would have to sort it out. And then my son's in the medical field. And I would send him my records, and we would talk. So I didn't want to be one of those people that walk out in shock and say, they didn't tell me I could die. I wanted to know, you're a big girl. Suck it up. If they tell you this is it, get your affairs in order, which a couple of times they did.
Did they?
Yeah. And, the doctors are wonderful, but they don't pull any punches anymore. It's not like the old days when everybody whispered cancer. And I remember being a child and having an aunt die of cancer, and everybody whispered. It was like it was something, and we thought it was contagious, and we didn't understand much because that was way back in the 50s. But I'm thinking how far we've come with support groups. And I've been to a couple of support groups. Sometimes it will trigger anxiety because people are there and they're where you were, and it brings it all back. And other times there's people in remission like me who I say, oh my gosh, you've been in remission longer than I have. And that is encouraging. It really is.
That's good. It's funny about support groups. I've talked to people who've just lost spouses from, for whatever, and they don't want to go. A lot of people don't want to go to support groups because they're just going to make me more depressed because I hear everybody talking negatively. But on the other hand, I have run some support groups with people whose spouses had Alzheimer's, and it was helpful because they figured that they said, oh, your mother's saying this to you that you stole all her money to?
Exactly.
So it's good, but you have to be ready for it.
Exactly. And once in a while, somebody might drag you down a little bit. They don't mean to. It's just that's the phase of their treatment they're in. And
I'm going to die. How are you all being so happy? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And especially if they don't have family, friends, or understanding job to go back to. But I was really blessed. Actually, it seems like the longer I'm in remission and the better I feel, my family gets scattered again around the country.
That's not good.
No, it isn't. Because I love that feeling of closeness. And it's a shame we have to wait until we think we're going to lose someone.
Right. Maybe we have to have a mysterious illness and just not know what it is. I don't know what it is, but they don't even have a name for it. But you better come see me.
Well, nobody ever wants to have regrets.
Yeah.
And like my husband wasn't just going to fly up to Boston because he just felt like he saw his mom a while ago in the nursing home, and now she's gone. And I said, you know what? It's not only for the closure and to say goodbye, but you're the oldest of 8.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to show your siblings support.
Oh, definitely. It was smart.
And you need to, and my son, one of my sons flew in, Ryan, who's in the book, who's a handful. He flew in from California, so him and his dad had nice times, you know, even though it was a sad occasion.
But definitely. That was the right thing
we
to
have
do.
to do that. And, you know, just so many things come out, our relationships, what we learn every day. Just, I'm enthusiastic. And some people will say to me, well, what do you want? You're so hyper. It's life. I'm excited. The sun's
Especially
up.
having, yes, that's right. Especially having that wonderful daughter now that you adopted here. She has just got over having cancer, and now she had something put in front of her, and I can let you tell the story because it's a beautiful story, and I have absolutely told people about it because you're no spring chicken to do this.
No.
You're not in your 30s to do this. And
Our
so,
40s or 50s.
Right.
But,
I mean, it's marvelous.
I was mentoring a little girl, and her unofficial foster mother asked me, I was teaching at the college, if I would mentor her. And I had just prayed. I said, reveal to me why I went through this. Why am I now on the other side? I was finally getting reports that everything looked clear. And as soon as I said that, I met this student. She wasn't one of mine. She came up to me. Should I hear you love children? Would you like to meet a little girl? You know, and I don't want to reveal a lot of personal things, but Destiny had a very chaotic home life, and her parents weren't able to take care of her, and she was in and out of the shelter. And I said, sure, give me the address. And I showed up the next day and took her to the ocean. We had dinner, sat on the water, and we hit it off. And she's just a beautiful
And she
girl.
was 10.
Inside now. Yes.
And she was really at that age where, boy.
I'll tell you, it was just the cusp of little girlhood. And she had never had a Barbie. She had never been to Hoffman's Chocolates. She had never done a lot of ordinary kid things. And I don't know if I told you last time, but I took her shopping for her school uniforms at Target. And she goes, I never thought I'd shop where the rich people go.
Oh.
But
sure, she always went to thrift shops.
yes, she always had hand-me-downs. So her being so appreciative of having a mom and now a dad, now that I remarried my ex, it's just a beautiful thing. And she's on the honor roll, and she sings. And she kind of got mad at me the last time she listened to the interview on YouTube. And she said, I asked you not to talk about me.
No one knows who she is, though.
Exactly. And there's many girls with that name in Florida.
Of course. So we're doing it again. Sorry.
I know.
Sorry, we're doing it. Yeah.
But I brag about her, and I tell her I feel like I can because, first of all, there's none of my DNA there. There's just a little girl that was lost between the cracks that has brought joy to my life, and hopefully I can raise her. She's already talking about what colleges she wants to go to and what she wants to do with her life. So she has goals.
It's just like when my dog died about 3 years ago, I had a hole in my heart. Mm-hmm. And someone said, you need to fill that hole. And someone found me a dog that needed a home. And I'm so in love with that dog. And it's kind of the same thing in a way that, I mean, I don't love my dog more than you love your daughter, but yet that's what I have. And so it's kind of love is love.
Love is love, and we all need that. And in the book, I talk about my cat, Simba, who I had to have put down, who, when I got sick, he started attacking everybody randomly. And 7 different people went to the hospital for stitches. My son, my grandson, my daughter, Marissa.
And is that...
I think that somehow animals can sense, I don't know, maybe the way I smelled with all the chemicals.
They do sense cancer. There's a whole book on that. There
Yeah,
is a
I'll have
book.
to look that
Yeah,
up.
there's a
But
book with that.
Simba would sit by my head like the guard dog, and he started acting like a pit bull, and nobody could go near him. And this is just a ginger Tom, a nice big red cat that I had taken in. And finally, I got to the point where I said, oh, my God, I'm like the pit bull owners that, don't blame the dog. And I can't chance Simba grabbing a little kid's face or something. So I had to have him put down, and that was real sad. And we cried. But then I had a chance to get a couple new kittens, and we still have one of them. One ran away, but we still have Becky. And I can't believe the love that animals give you and the tranquility. Just patting her, it relaxes me.
It is. It's wonderful. Yes, I get on the floor with Charlie because he's a Shih Tzu, and he doesn't want me to pick him up. He is overweight. When I got him, I'm trying to get him to lose weight. Doesn't like that. But if I get on the floor, he can't wait to get close to me.
Oh, it's so cute.
So it is cute. So we all have our things. Well, let's go back over this whole thing about the diary. How did that come to you? Why did you do that?
Well, I've written all my life. I've always had journals. I have journals that go way back. And sometimes you read them from like your 20s or your 30s, and you go, oh, my God, I was so ignorant, or I had so much to learn. And sometimes looking back, you come up with these epiphanies like, oh, my God, I just found my own conclusion here. Now I see I was the problem, or this is what I was doing wrong. So it's great to look back at what you've written. It's great to see progress you've made in different areas, relationships or work or anything in life. And it's also good to, it just gives you some clarity, the printed word, to read it. Even when I pick up my book, I picked it up this morning before I drove here, and I was reading this section about Ryan helping me with the feeding tube. And I said, how ironic is this? My 6-foot son, who's always a handful, he's going, let me see, Mom. Give me the tube. Give me the... And it was just on my belly, so it was nothing private. But Marissa ran out of the room. She headed for the hills and said, that makes me sick to even look at. And who would have thought that Ryan who was always like the clown of the family, the jokester, would be able to step up and be the nurturer. And then my daughter, who was 18 at the time, was typical teenager, so self-centered and so hurt that she might lose her mom, that she couldn't be there for me. And she's one of the ones that's afraid to read the book.
Interesting. I don't know about the feeding tube. Can you put this in yourself? People don't put their own food in, do they? Because that's to be cleaned and everything.
Well, it has to be cleaned, and it backs up, and you're worried about infection and all that.
Yeah, so someone usually does that, don't
but
they?
At first, they'll send you visiting nurses, and they'll show you when they insert it how to do it in the hospital. But the way I was first shown was stretching my arms out and holding it up. And you almost need 3 hands to do it. So one of the visiting nurses that came to my house was wonderful, and she just showed me a different way to hang it on something, a lamppost or something a little bit lower, and be able to still have 2 hands available, one to hold the peg in and the other one to pour the formula in. Mm-hmm. So it made me a little more independent, and I didn't have to. And finally, I got to the point where I knew I was starving, and I'd never be able to fight the cancer cells if I didn't have the nourishment at least 3 times a day.
So that's my other question. But once you have that food, are you still hungry?
Oh, you're still hungry.
You're hungry, even
you
though
daydream about food.
So your stomach is full, but yet you're daydreaming about food. It's the mental part, right?
Yeah, I don't even know about being full. Let's just say you're satisfied. You don't have hunger pains. But at one point in the book, I talk about my daughter and her boyfriend coming in with pizzas, big, delicious, hot pizzas. And I was up in my room, and I could hear them. And I said, I can't wait till the day I can eat a piece of hot pizza again. Mm-hmm. So and it is a gift.
It's your salivary glands that are...
Yeah, even though they do dry up and you lose a lot, you still love the smell and the texture of food. Even though I lost some taste, it's more now of a gift or a ritual. Of course, I have to eat slow. And I've always enjoyed cooking. But I think even more so now, because when I got rid of that last case of formula and passed it on to somebody else, which people had done for me also, you drop it off the oncologist or the radiologist, because it's very expensive. It's not covered. And you say, now I can start eating, Jell-O and then soup. And
Is that how it starts very easily? But they take the peg out.
Not until I met my goal weight, which was, for my height, 125. And I had fallen so low, it was hard to even maintain 100. So I had to go to a gym. Well, I didn't have to. I decided to go to a gym and get a personal trainer. And I worked out day and night, lifting weights, and I went on a high-calorie diet. I know. Can you believe it? Now I know. You're looking at me saying,
No.
I should have stopped a couple of years back.
No. So, in other words, not everybody probably would have done what you did, but you were so determined to get well.
I was determined. I do remember one day before Friendly's went out of business, my friend Deanne took me, and she said to the waiter, I said, I'm not hungry. She said, what's the most calories in anything on the menu? And he said, a caramel bun with vanilla ice cream and whipped cream and sauce.
I'll have it, she said.
I said, I'll try it. Well, of course, I got hooked.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful. Plus, it went down.
Well, I just have to. I just want to tell everybody you've been listening to just such a lovely woman, Kathleen Barbee.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. She's the author of Confessions of a Survivor. It always goes so fast when you're here talking. I would like you to really think about buying that book. It's on Amazon.com. You can also this will also be on YouTube, but the last interview we had is also on YouTube. So go to Boomer Times and actually go to YouTube, Boomer Times Presents, and you'll be able to see her. And also you'll be able to hear another one. So thank you so much, Kathleen.
Oh, you're welcome. I really appreciate it, Anita.